So hello and welcome back to Go Again Gaming, and welcome back to the Azalea cult here in the dirty, grimy pits below Metrics. That's right, the pits, the outsiders.
Pits.
I love your reaction. It's just like, oh, I can't contain it anymore. Here we go.
Oh, I couldn't. Sorry.
The first draft set of 2023 coming in with Outsiders, and this is a set that is confirmed to be in the pits, which is where our supreme leader lives and does most of her skullduggery work. So, what was your initial reaction to seeing this? To seeing the picture that is now flashed up on our screen of this sort of like Mad Maxy person? What do you think this is? First of all, this image.
So, like when I saw the image at first, I didn't immediately think pits. Actually, I looked at it and I thought mech.
Yeah.
So then I said, oh, is it the pits? Is it the pits? And then because the background, there wasn't a lot of the background. It's just them in the foreground. And then I saw the text to the post, and I lost it, man. Like I got so excited.
Yeah.
And I mean, we kind of suspected it was coming. I mean, I think in our other video we said maybe not the first, maybe the second, because there was a bit of that whole we could be going to Mysteria next rumor. But to find out for sure it was the pits, man, I literally was jumping for joy.
Yeah, and a lot of the cult members are as well, and still are to this day. I think it's now been spoiled for maybe 24 to 48 hours or so. So yeah, it's an amazing piece of news, and rightly so as well to think mech, because it's got that sort of steampunky Mad Max sort of style vibe.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
But it's more there's like bones on the art, and she's like wearing weird goggles and got this like pirate hats in the background, all sorts of speculations and stuff in one image, which is all you need to start this hype train.
Yeah,
And
almost certainly going to be a hero, I assume, because usually when we get somebody like that on the cover art for a set, they end up being a hero, and I mean, I think that's how it's been in the past. So
yeah, but it's again, it's not. It's rightly so to also assume mech, because mech and the city of Metrics and the pits are very much connected.
oh, so much so.
So, as part of the lore as well, it says that the pits are just a series of massive chasms that are beneath the city of Metrics. And miners have sort of uncovered all these passages and stuff that are below, and that's where all the sort of Denzians now lie. And there is a passageway from Metrics to the pits called the Moor, and it's actually connected through a place called Copper Town in Metrics. So there is actually a place in Metrics where you go to get to the pits if you want to go there. So they are very much intertwined. And Copper Town as well sounds like a place where it's like a down and deprived version, like a lower echelons society of Metrics, isn't it? Copper Town, like where Cavdane might sort of hang out to trade skins and stuff. So that's a nice little bit of link there between the two.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there was the other lore that I think Kel had in his video about them doing experiments from metrics down into the pits and and such. So they
Yeah.
are certainly connected.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, very much looking forward to this. There's loads of speculations, and thanks to the cult members as well. I made the little subsection in the Discord for people's speculations on what could happen, and I'm sure we'll touch on the lore again as we go through some of these speculations. But yeah, people are just absolutely loving it at the moment, and for the first one in there for speculations is actually I'm just bringing it up now, is Fabled Hero. NZ Lynette.
Oh, yeah. Lynette.
Yeah, she's always in there chirping in, and she says we hope we get an alchemist using poisons to slow down their opponents, which I think would be a fantastic idea, because there is like as part of the jobs, and there's a great video that Kel did, going through the whole of the lore section, but there's like an apothecary section of people in there that are sort of alchemists and using people's experimentations and stuff. So that would be a great piece of mechanics to see as well, using items and potions and all that sort of thing.
I think it's really possible too. I mean, look at some of the like Viapoc, some of the art that shows Pitt's characters. Now that we know, that the the spiders or from the pits or whatnot that have he's like dealing in alchemy like on a table, essentially. So I
Yeah.
think the call that there's going to be an alchemist class and or just alchemy in the set is pretty safe.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like art on stuff like from Arcane Rising, which obviously you look at and you think, oh, that's definitely the pits. Like there's a card called Back Alley Breakline, which is like that sort
Oh
of
yeah, 100%. That's
yeah,
like Cabdan essentially.
yeah, just like injecting that weird green fluid into someone's arm and stuff, like all that experimentation, augmentation of things. Is probably what we're going to see as well. That could be another mechanic as well, like augmentation, like experimentation. But yes,
Temporary boosts or something that you could use with potions and things. I mean, we already have potions in the game, so perhaps they'll just have new mechanics or new ways to use them.
yeah, exactly. Big Boss Book Club saying, "Oh, this is great. Not a single card I need to buy." So that's another good thing about these draft sets as well, is that sometimes they don't have the heroes that you want in them. So you don't get that wallet fatigue. You don't get that because sometimes the sets you don't really care for them. So that's a good thing about these draft
If your
sets as
main's
well.
not in there, you're not likely to have a lot of cards that you can use. I mean, maybe some generics, but very few. So
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a positive. You don't have to buy every set, which is nice. But when you do visit the set that has your character and your flavour and your theme, and you go all in, you absolutely love it. So that's what we're doing. Mustache Woo is saying, since the Pits has a group of Freak Show, I'm hoping Azalea has a Dreg ally like Chain and Leviathan. It could be a vanilla ally and an alternative attack with no arrows to shoot. So yeah, very, very good idea. So what he's alluding to here is there's different gangs in the Pits. There's the Freak Shows, there's the Blockheads, there's the Pyromancer ones. I don't have the list in front of me. I might be able to flash it up now while I'm going through this. But one of those gangs is called the Freak Shows, and they have like these like dregs on chains and doing weird things and stuff with them.
yeah, I actually have it real quick. It's the Freak Shows, the Torch, the Numbskulls, the Jawbreakers, and the Blockheads.
Oh, nice one. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's the 5 gangs that are represented. And are they gang? Well, did it say on the website if they're gangs? Is it or they are, aren't they? They're sort of.
It specifically calls them the gangs. Yeah.
So one of those gangs, as Mustache Wu says here, are the Freak Shows, which have these dregs. So maybe there is a new character, or maybe Azalea or something, getting access to allies that can attack when you don't have an arrow or something like that, which is a good idea.
Dregs have been, as you posted in the group there, featured in the art with Azalea, I think in multiple occasions.
Yeah. Sikkim Shot, I believe it is the art with the dregs. And the other thing about this as well is because you mentioned that the art is now flashed up on screen here. She has dregs at her feet, but her eyes are also red in it. It's like she's like taken drugs or taken some sort of enhancement or something, that allows her to command the dregs in the art because she's got these red eyes.
I would say you may have to have something like that to be able to take control of the dregs because apparently they're kind of wild.
Yeah.
Like, so she's got to have some way to command them.
Yeah, and if you look at the dregs' eyes as well, they're also red. So Azalea's eyes are the same colours as the eyes of the dregs. So there must be some sort of something there that I've just literally just noticed this just now looking at it actually. That she's got the same eyes as the dregs, same colour eyes, so she must be able to command them somehow by doing something.
I mean, and the whole card is Sikkim Shot, so it's almost like sicking the dregs on whatever.
Yeah. And then shout out to Trap Fox, one of the patrons of the channel, just shouting out, I want this.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you can have this already, it's a card, but he just wants the whatever this action is entailing on Sikkim Shot. Maybe it was a sign all along that we were going to get something else to Azalea. And also going off of this gang's conversation very, very briefly, because it's all speculation at this stage. You don't want to go into too much delves and details into what it could be. but obviously we want to cover the news as it comes out. But for people that are familiar with Magic the Gathering, there was a set called, two sets actually, called Strixhaven, which was about like a sort of mage school situation where you chose a school and that had different art, like conjuration, pyrotechnics, and all that sort of thing. And there's also another set where it was like guilds that had different things. So you had the carnival freaks, which are basically similar to these carnival show ones. You had the enforcers of the guild. You had the people that were experimenting, and the scientists were one guild. So what I'm getting feelings here is that the draft environment for this set will be very much based on these gangs. And Brian Gottlieb in the last Living Legends podcast did mention that obviously this set is going to be very good for drafters. And I think it's going to be decent because it's going to. I think it probably will, include all of those gangs, and you have to maybe affiliate yourself with a couple of those gangs to make your draft experience tailored to what you want to play with when you draft your limited or sealed pools. So I think that could be.
There's also the rumor now, and with some evidence, that we may be going back to 4 heroes in the set. So back to a 4-hero draft. So that's another thing to note, which may work out with having all these different gangs, etc.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, can't wait to see if the gangs are included to that level. But I imagine, the sheer contrast. If you look at the lore, obviously we're not going to explain every detail to you. You can go and read it. But if you look at the different contrast of the gangs, they all do different things. The Freak Show have got dregs, as we mentioned, so that could be like a token/ally strategy. The blockheads could just be big, massive attack strategy. There's another one called the pyromancers, could just be like burn arcane damage strategy. So there could be loads of different things, different avenues you could go down in the draft environment, which would make it very interesting. Because the archetypes are already predetermined by the looks of it, based on the gangs, so that's good. So yeah. Moustache Woo again, is it too much to ask for a Ranger battle-worn chest? I mean, the equipment could be borrowed from Metrics. Absolutely. That's what we want, isn't it? And
just another option other than Tunic.
Yeah, yes, please. And this probably could be the set for that. I mean, we did have hopes and dreams of it being in Dynasty, but I think that was too much to ask. And yeah, it makes sense because obviously the Skullbone cross wrap very much looks like something you'd find in the pits or Metrics. It doesn't look like a typical.
It came from it, yeah, for sure.
So yeah, maybe we find something like that. Cake Dude 03.
Steampunk chest.
Yeah. Cake Dude 03. So he's a new member to the Discord as well, new cultist. So welcome. Probably going to be Mech, Assassin, Brute, and Ranger. Ranger's the only one that has had a hero since Arya and the rest before that. And considering they went head first into Azalea lore, it's probably Ranger. Maybe Azalea's protege. Brute is another thing that's been coming up quite a lot because of the blockheads, the sort of brutish gang. I think it's the blockheads or jawbreakers maybe.
Blockheads favor melee weapons using clubs, bats, hammers to crush their opponents. It's definitely brute. Yeah,
it's quite brutish. So we've had a few sort of brute calls. Yeah, and we know what LSS is like. We think, pits, yeah, it's going to be assassin, it's going to be ranger, but they're going to come out of the big brute. That, and rightly so, because there's like a lot of thugs and goons and stuff that you associate with like Batman, Arkham, and all that sort of thing. So this sort of vibe would fit a brute, I feel.
Right. No, absolutely. Sorry, I was reading the rest of his statement there. I'm sure you're going to get there, but he's got a theory similar to what I've been wishing for.
Okay, what was that?
About a mech ranger, basically.
The whole mech
being
ranger.
Able to dual class. Now that we know that there's dual class is a thing from the king.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see that. I'd love to see a mech ranger just because you see some of the cards with the arrow cards where there's a bit of tech kind of involved in whatever they're doing, including the armor. So I don't think it's that much of a stretch to think that there could be a dual-classed mech ranger.
Yeah, and it kind of works as well, because obviously mech ranger, mechs are, again, long range, because they have like pistols and shotguns and all that sort of stuff. So the aim counters might even work with like a sniper rifle mech ranger.
Or we could get my crossbow that I've been wanting so badly.
Yeah, no, that's another good shout as well. I think there's another one down here somewhere in this massive list of speculations, which points at the Bolton shot man. You know, the Van Helsing hat wearing, crossbow wielding.
Right.
So I think that's somewhere in here if we find it as we're scrolling through. But yeah, Andrew Donnelly coming in with saying, I suspect that an Alchemist class will use attacks like Life of the Party, which are modal unless you sacrifice a specific potion and get all of the effects instead. So that's a good shout. There could be some form of, some sort of attack or ability that gives you certain things if you sacrifice certain potions to do it. So then it obviously pays you off for developing a varied board state, because you can get various effects at different times. So that could be a good little thing.
Right.
But yeah, that's another popular one as well, is Alchemist, or Apothecary, I think the thing is listed as, because there's another section of the lore is like the different, is it job titles? You've got like Information Trader, you've got Apothecary, you've got Assassin, Mercenary, there's like a list of like vocations. So that could also hint as to what kind of heroes or mechanics we might get as well.
Yep.
So Apothecary is in there. Neros is saying, I'd like to see a pit mech again, so touching on what we said earlier, and ideally a non-elemental ranger. So this is another...
Well, I don't think we'll get an elemental ranger.
No, definitely not. It will introduce a new talent.
Yeah, exactly. If we follow standard, we're going to get some new talent, or maybe a dual class, and that's what our ranger will be. Will be a talented ranger or a dual class ranger, but probably not elemental. I don't see them going element in the pits.
No. It's nice. It's nice for them to have these things if they need to do it, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes in the future. But yeah, this really, really does feel like it's going to be introduce a new talent. But we'll see. We'll see. And one of the things I haven't mentioned yet is my concerns with the new hero. So if they make Azalea there's a new Azalea character, that's what I don't want to happen to a certain degree. And it would be cool to have a new Azalea character, but I feel like this one hasn't even been given the chance yet to do anything. So to power creep the character in that way. Would be a bit of a shame, I think. So
I don't think in this set either. I think if that were to happen, it would be similar to Starvo. It would be in a supplementary set, not in a main set.
True.
So I think we're pretty safe from having a Azalea, like another version of Azalea in the pits. Like I don't think we're going to have an Azalea in the pits. We'll have cards that she can use for sure, but I think we're going to get a different ranger.
Okay, nice. Yeah, makes sense. And that seems to be the thing so far is like, yeah, anyone that's had a different version of their character has been supplementary only. Is that right? Yeah. It's only been Bravo, isn't it?
I believe so. Yeah, Bravo's the only real one, you're right.
Yeah, so that's all right then, yeah, luckily. Chemical, thanks for being a patron of the channel. I'm hoping for merchant support. Give us a fully playable merchant and also a mech self-destruct button. Merchant support, that seems to be a good place for it, definitely.
Yeah, I haven't decided though. I'm wondering if LSS wants merchant to be that pits or PvE class, like, or do they want to move it into a traditional a class? I don't know, because I kind of like the theme of the merchant being just unique to those play styles. If you had like a regular one, I don't know how thematic that would be. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's definitely tailor-made to more of a team team or group dynamic, because it's more of like a bartering
It's a
tool.
merchant, yeah.
Yeah, it's not really. You're not going to see a merchant fighting a warrior in any circumstance 1v1 most of the time. So I think it's mainly towards PvE, but we'll see. It would be funny to see, just a merchant hero in a draft set or something, that you can choose to be if you want. Zan Drenell is saying, I think that we will probably get Azalea, but also Assassin, could be Azalea, Alchemist, maybe a Ranger, and Dash. Everything will have some sort of Mad Max vibe, and the talent will be based around either doing stuff makeshift, like you need to in the pits, or information gathering, like Arachne. So also I think at least one of the 4 projected heroes will have no talent. So yeah, that's good. What I'm taking from that is the information gathering, because that's another thing that Brian, one of the developers we had on Living Legends podcast, said, is that the information part of it, the revealing your opponent's cards, and they didn't even know what they have, and you do, is another way to look at the game and to target your opponent in a different way, rather than just looking at their life total. You can look at their cards and manipulate what they're drawing, and information being key is a nice thing to have in a long extended CC game. Is a good sort of insight.
Just another avenue to gain an advantage over your opponent, basically.
Yeah,
adds another dimension to the game.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. He says he thinks we'll get Azalea. I don't think Azalea will be in the set. That would not be. There's not a precedent there for an exact same hero reappearing in another set. I don't think we've had that, other than a supplemental, when you can get the hero cards in a supplemental set. But in a primary set, I don't think we've ever had a repeat of a hero. So I don't think we'll have her unless they do something new or different. And if they did, I don't think it'll be the same as Azalea. It'll be a talented or a something other.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing as well is, like, the lead up to this has had, Azalea at the forefront of it. Obviously, the shitty Xmas present was clearly based in the pits, and obviously Azalea's at the forefront of that.
100%, yeah.
So obviously
we might have even been in Blackjack's Tavern, actually, by the look of it.
Yeah, having a whale of a time opening socks, bless her. And we also heard from James White at Worlds, obviously Justin, who was on the episode 7 of the Azalea Cult when we was in the hotel room looking at the new cards the first time. He asked, when do we get a young cold foil Azalea? And they said first quarter of next year. Is that right? I think they said first quarter of next year. I'm going to say now it's probably Armory. It's probably going to be like the first Pitts Armory. I bet you there's a cold foil Azalea as one of the prizes. Yeah, so it's been there the whole time that we are getting, something. And the fact that they're giving us cold foil young Azalea Armory kit stuff. Is that also a sort of hint to the fact that we're not getting a Azalea hero? Hopefully. Well, what's your thoughts? Do you think she should just stay as she is for now?
I mean, I'd like her to stay as she is. That's kind of the appeal to her. Like, I'd be worried it would change kind of the cult if she were to evolve. So, Azalea's Azalea, and I want her to stay that way.
Yeah, nice. And as Ranger gets expanded and stuff, she'll always get support. But
exactly.
It's another thing as well, is like, for people that like older heroes and stuff, I think the best way to expand upon those, LSS, if you're listening to this, is hero specializations, like named specializations. So you could put a new Azalea specialization in this set, and it wouldn't benefit Lexi, it wouldn't benefit the new Ranger if there is a new Ranger. So add more specializations. If you want to buff certain cult members or certain contingencies like Leviah, the League of Leviah and stuff, if you want to boost those heroes up and build those communities up, just give them a specialization. They'll be happy then for another 3 months. That's a good way to do it without sort of lifting up.
Bolton kind of got a legendary in Dynasty, so it's not a Bolton specific. It's like light warrior, right? But still something like that.
Exactly. Cool. E Darkness is saying another more speculation here. I'm going with Ranger, possibly just Azalea, Mech Assassin, Blue Hair Girl. She was in the shitty Xmas present as well.
Yeah, and the shitty Christmas present. Yep.
And then Kasai, because Kasai is also a mercenary, apparently. I haven't read her. I think there is a bit of lore.
We did get at Worlds, though, that there would not be an adult Kasai. Didn't we kind of get that hint?
Oh, did we?
I thought so.
What was in the Q&A? Or...
Yeah, in that Q&A, I'm trying to remember back exactly, and I think there was somebody asked about an adult Kasai, and I think it was the answer was a very ambiguous, like, well, not right now, but never say never kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think we'll see an adult Kasai in this set, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because he definitely would have known at that point. They knew what was going to be in this set at Worlds,
Oh,
I'm
of course
sure.
they did.
It's already nailed down.
Yeah. And like when I spoke to James, and he was like, it may not seem like it now, but obviously this bow is going to be a key piece for you in the future. I didn't realise that future was going to be potentially right around the corner. So will we see more aim counter stuff in this set?
That's almost a guarantee. I'm pretty sure.
That's what I mean. We have to, surely. There needs to be quite a lot of it as well to make aim counters the next step of evolution per se. E-Darkness.
I mean, almost if not this set, I would be shocked. But the supplemental one after it, 100% one of the two.
Yeah. So is that the schedule now? Is it draft supplement? Is it or is it
that's what it's been. Yeah, recently.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. And they carry on to say, and a wild card suggestion, but what if we get a new bow type, but it's generic? Interesting. A generic bow type. I'm not sure what you're referring to by that, Mystery Darkness. But just
we have generic bows.
Generic, do we? No,
well, I guess I'm reading that as bows that can be used by any ranger.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I guess. Well, yeah. That's not generic. That's ranger specific. But yeah, I'm not sure what a generic bow. That means anybody can use a bow.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless
I don't know if I like that. I think bows need to be relegated to rangers only.
Yeah, exactly. No, don't give them to a rune blade.
Right. Oh, yeah. Come on.
Yeah. They got enough stuff as it is.
We might have an uprising in the cult if we start giving bows to other classes.
No, that's right. Nero's again saying, I'd like to see a crossbow for ranger. Yeah, I think we'd love to see that. Bolt and shot man.
There we go.
Would be a welcome addition to the Pits crew. Postporn TV saying, I suspect hero wise we get Azalea. So a lot of people think we are getting an Azalea character.
Yeah, I don't want to. I mean, I'd be happy with it. I just don't think it's in the cards. Not to be too punny, but there's no precedent there, and I think it would be just a little weird for one of the four heroes to be Azalea as she is already. But who knows?
Yeah. We'll see. Azalea plus Arachne reprints. Yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to see a reprinted heroes in this set. But we'll see. But we get
unless
Ranger
they're tokens, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. New mech hero and new hero plus class Alchemist. I'm going to say one Marvel slot will be our Azalea. That'll be cool if we get
be.
Yeah, that would be good. Although it would be a bit of a feel bad. I think there's someone put this in the Discord, not in this section, but in another one, saying, I just bought my bloody Marvel German cold foil full extended art Azalea. Now they want to...
yeah, I don't think if we get a Marvel, it'll be Azalea. I'm sorry, I think that's what he meant, but in my head I was thinking another Marvel equipment or arrow or something like that. That's what I think we'll probably have. I think just because of that, because they did those in those history packs, that's going to be exclusive to that, is my guess.
Yeah, hopefully. Then there's a bit of chat on here about shadow necromancers. So I know you can relate to that. So,
Oh yeah, it's funny. I was actually when I called out the different gangs earlier. There is definitely a what was it? The numbskulls, known for their unusual fixation with bones. Numbskulls can be easily identified by the skull caps they wear. They carve from the bones of their victims. Like
yeah,
that's a necromancer.
yeah, that's
So
right.
necromancer's possible.
It is possible. And going back to the gangs thing as well, that's another. Obviously, the people that are obsessed with bones. That's a graveyard synergy based clan there, or gang there.
Yeah, and I assume when necromancer does come out, it's going to have a lot to do with the graveyard.
Yeah. So already you can see how the gangs are sort of so much different to each other in their aesthetics and what their mechanics could entail. It just screams to me that that's the way they want to do it. And looking at other card games and how they've done it, they have done similar things with like guilds and different clans or cults per se that do different things mechanically. So maybe they're going to borrow from that. We'll see. Dave DGTCG, thanks for being a patron of the channel. For my take, I think we'll get a mercenary, a twisted mechanologist, and an alchemist. And from what Brian said on the Living Legends pod, I don't think there will be another assassin. Azalea won't get the Starvo treatment, so he agrees with our sentiments there. But we'll have some sort of support, obviously. Whether that's finally a chess piece, a one-handed bow plus offhand, or maybe allies. So yeah, I think that's a good take. Mercenary is also a good shout because that seems to be one of the major parts of the lore, as well as the mercenary group.
Oh yeah, that blackjack mercenary group. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a big part of it, and probably will come into it because it's one of the focal points, isn't it?
Was mercenary one of the ones in the lore book? I can't remember. Something I'll have to look up later. I don't remember can't even say it.
Yeah, I'm not sure
mercenary was I can't. So I'm trying to like multitask and I can't do that. If it was in the original lore book or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was, but it's going to be a.
Because I know we have confirmation that every class that was in the lore book will come out.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can look it up while we're talking.
Yeah, so that'll be awesome if they recognise that maybe as something. I think they might include the calling cards. Obviously, there's a little bit of lore on the calling cards, like depending on your rank within Blackjack's mercenary group, you're given a different card. So maybe those cards will actually manifest themselves in the actual limited or draft sealed experience. Where you choose maybe a card that then you put on the table first, and that it determines what gang you're affiliated with, or something like that. That could be a good thing to include because obviously it's a card, it's physically in the lore, it's physically in the card game, etc. So that could be a good little thing. And yeah, chess piece, one-handed bow, maybe allies. Allies make sense with obviously the dregs that we spoke about earlier.
Yep, the dregs. Yep.
There's a whole gang that use them for gain. So yeah, it's got to be a good shout there. So cheers for that, Dave.
I'm loading up the lore book.
That's all right.
PDF.
Cerebrus is saying it's time to pay off Knock the Death Whistle with a corresponding arrow card, some kind of overpowered arrow at legendary tier. Imagine that, a legendary arrow. Arrow.
I thought he was going the way of the specialization, another specialization we've kind of talked about, which would be nice.
Yeah, that's the main line of players.
All right, so mercenary is not in those classes, just so we know. We have Alchemist. We've already got Assassin, got Guardian, got Brute, got Wizard, have Bard now, have an Illusionist, have a Ninja. Don't have a Necromancer yet, don't have a Cleric yet, and then Warrior and Ranger. So Necromancer, Cleric, and Alchemist are the three remaining from the lore book.
Oh, Alchemist is slam dunk then, surely, for Pits. Got to be.
I think so. After seeing that.
Yeah. And cleric and necromancer seems to be like light and dark again. So maybe that's when we revisit.
Yeah, those two may come together, very possibly.
Yeah. I'm going off a little bit off the rails there, but I think necromancer. That's right. Necromancer could even be like Savage Lands, like Witch Doctor style summoning, like that sort of thing. We'll see. My headphone just fell out.
Yeah, moving along.
Moving along swiftly. Cerebrus also saying mechanologists are mentioned in the demonistry lore, so shadow mech isn't unreasonable. So I think this was in response to something about what I said. I think mech is a very, very good shout. I think people originally think, oh yeah, pits, it's going to be ranger, it's going to be assassin, it's going to be maybe something new. But I think mechanologist could be a surprise include as to what gets support here, because they're very, very closely linked, aren't they? Again, as we said earlier.
And we'll probably get a talented mech, so maybe shadow mech, I don't know.
Yeah, or just...
it's possible.
Or just whatever the talent is of this area. So obviously in Aria we had elemental, and in elemental there's another bit of this towards the end here with regards to what I'm getting at. But in Aria we had elemental, but then within elemental you had essence of earth, ice, or lightning. So depending on what your hero was, you could choose one of those three based on the combination of what your hero could allow you to do. So maybe here in the pits it's like let's just say Scoundrel. So all of your heroes have the Scoundrel ability, but you can then choose different vocations within that Scoundrel, like information trader or assassin or whatever it is. You know what I'm getting at? That sort of thing.
Right.
So you can choose. So they're all talented the same way, but only have access to certain parts of that talent.
Almost like having talent trees, like you have different paths that you can go.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad I was making sense to you there, because I thought I wasn't really making sense.
I got you, man.
Nice. Neros coming in with a joke. Data Doll Mark III. Yeah, probably not going to see that.
Yeah.
Dash gets power armor, gives the pit some scavenger power armor, all rust and all tetanus. Lovely. Cheers, Neros.
Hope everybody's got their shots.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta go to your local alchemist.
Yeah. Get to your back alley break line, get that shot, get that tetanus. Dave is also confirming, if you check the lore page for the pits, there are 5 classes: Smuggler, Mercenary, Assassin, Information Trader, and Apothecary. So there are interesting takes on new classes that could be playable heroes.
Wait, does it call them classes?
No, I don't think it's called...
That's the skullduggery. Like, that's the made-up word. That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
Skullduggery.
So that's what I was alluding to. Like, if all of your heroes were skullduggery talent...
I was gonna say I'd be more attuned to those being talents than being classes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was like, what's a name for something that sums all of that up, so we can sort of get a speculation as to what that could be called? And Andrew was just like, mistaken progress.
Yeah.
Cheers, Andrew.
Got to think positively. Come on.
Exactly. Cool. I'm just going through down here a bit further to see if there's anything else. I think there was a lot of
bit of chatter.
Yeah. But just while we're checking through this as well, if you haven't done so already, if you're listening,
don't forget the light illusionist that James White is going to. Oh, I know what they're talking about. Basically, throwing the living legend classes into the future sets. We're not getting a light illusionist in the pits. Pretty sure that he meant supplemental sets when he said that.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, if you're watching this far still, if you haven't joined the Discord already, make sure you do that. The link's in the description box below, where we're getting all of this information from now. All the names that we're calling out are people that are in the Outside of Speculation temporary thread in there, which we thought we'd use for this episode. So if you haven't done that already, make sure you go and join, because there's going to be a lot of people coming into this cult over the next couple of months. I can see it happening.
I think the cult's going to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. Cerebrus pointing out a few interesting things here. The apothecary, obviously, go back to the potion makers and stuff, could essentially be an alchemist with a twist where they might make dregs. So that's interesting. Yeah. So the apothecary is not.
I thought we learned in the lore though that the dregs were made by people in metrics experimenting.
Well, I think the dregs are just poisoned. They're just poisoned from all
Right.
the refuse. So they're just like mutants, basically. I think that's what Kel said in his video. They are. I think it does say on the lore somewhere. So we can check that briefly. But I think they are mutants. Yeah. So they're like they didn't have a choice. Basically, they were just mutated because of the poison in the refuse from metrics, basically.
Yep. Yeah, it does talk about that. They're being exposed daily to the toxins, etc.
Yes, they're just absolute.
Dregs are a result of these accidents. A collapsed tunnel, a mining accident, steam tech failure, or simple human error can cause all kinds of dangerous chemicals to overflow into the pits. Yeah.
Yeah.
So indirectly caused by metrics, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. Information trader as well, they're saying, could be similar to how the assassin works. Yeah, I think we mentioned that earlier, like the information, the revealing cards and stuff is a nice way to interact with your opponent, which doesn't feel like you're doing damage, but you're doing sort of psychological unknown damage to the opponent, and obviously you're gaining advantage that way because you know what's being moved around in their deck composition.
Yep.
So yeah, I like that idea of exploring that more. As I said to Brian, obviously one of the developers there, had him on Living Legends, said it multiple times because it's a great interview. I'd recommend go and watch it if you haven't done so and you've listened this far already. It's a great one, and there's a lot of insights as to how they might be looking at attacking your opponent rather than just whittling their life down. Imagine if we get a cult. Imagine if we get a cult talent. They best give us the spoiler card, is what I said.
Because my gosh, yeah.
Because there is actually a cult.
I mean, how could they not? How could they not? There is a real life Azalea cult.
Yeah, exactly. So we are so well positioned right now for this set. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if they call upon us again. But there is actually a cult in the pits. It's not the Azalea cult. It's the Apocalyptic cult. So I imagine this will probably have an overarching story implications to where the story goes in the future. But the Apocalyptic cult basically are responsible for a lot of history-defining moments in Wraith. So they are responsible for probably like the killing of the Emperor, I expect, to some degree.
They just orchestrating it a bit, yeah.
Yeah, so they sow seeds of chaos everywhere, just getting everyone ready for the aforementioned end times that they think are coming. So yeah, be good to see where that goes. There's only a tiny little bit of lore on it on the pit section, but very, very subtle. So it'd be interesting to see if they expand on that. And I think that's pretty much all of the. Well, actually, there's a little bit more towards the end here. Pat Smashgood from the combat chain.
Some repetitive stuff. Trying to find something new here.
Yeah, so I mentioned Pat because he was on the same wavelength as what we were saying earlier. I definitely feel like this has the potential to be the fab equivalent of Ravnica. So Ravnica was one of the planes from Magic the Gathering, and that had a different underworld guilds in constant struggle for power. Each guild with a speciality / talent. So 4 heroes with the ability to choose or have leanings towards 2-ish of the guilds. So another person with a lot of TCG experience.
Kind of going along with what you were just saying. Yeah. Earlier.
Yeah. And Pat recognises that as well because he used to play a lot of Magic. He's very well versed in TCGs. Obviously, the combat chains, very, very meta, optimal lines of play style podcast. So go and listen to that if you're interested in that from the combat chain. But yeah, nice to see that someone of that ilk is also recognising something that I picked up on as well. So we could see that, or Fab taking inspiration from that as well to some degree. But yeah, very, very excited for this set. There's so much going on. I want to thank all the cult members who just added to that speculation train and the hype train that is not going to leave the cult now for the next 2 or 3 months. It's just great to see that the next draft set is going to be our favourite place, without a doubt.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got a lot of time, and I'm sure we'll do more episodes before it comes off, so we can continue to have some. So I'd say keep posting in there, because we can go through with the whole cult, get some new ideas, and continue to speculate until it actually is here.
Yeah.
We didn't even really touch on the Blackjack's mercenary group, which I think is going to be pretty awesome. Like, I could see the calling card thing being a really cool mechanic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that would be a great thing to touch on, because it's, as I said, the calling cards and the stuff that you get depending on your level in that group is a physical card. So maybe there's a mechanic that says if you are a, I think there's on the lore page, there's like, you can be a pin, you can be a stack, or you can be something else. But if if you achieve a certain
mark, pin stacks marks.
Yeah, so if you've got a pin card in play, it's obviously going to do loads of good things. Or maybe there's other cards that relate to if you have a pin card in play.
The pins, it says, are the top of the hierarchy. Most of the rest of the mercenaries fall in the stacks. And then marks are contract cards given to mercenaries when they're to take up a contract.
Yeah.
So that's basically the assassin mechanic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if the new Ranger cards or Azalea or cards for Azalea care about contract. I'm not sure if they probably will or not.
Well, I mean, she's in the lore, she's a contract. She's a mercenary, so I could see her getting in on that mechanic in some way.
Yeah. But yeah, keep all the speculations coming. The Outsider speculation chat or thread will be there until we know what's going on. So until we get more information, it will still be in there. So if you have any wild speculations or theories, or if there is any sort of new art or images or anything leaked that then spark a great idea, then definitely share it with us, and we'll get it on this series. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. Obviously, we've got the shitty Xmas present, which sort of sparked us all into joy, because we're like, oh, Azalea's on a piece of art. Where's this going to go? And then suddenly we're going to the pits. And it's like, oh, bloody hell, here we go.
Oh, no, it's such an appropriate piece of art, too. I mean, that is just quintessential Azalea, the shitty Xmas present. I love it.
It really is. So it's a great time to be a fan of the Azalea cult and a fan of the pits in general. We are going there now. It is confirmed. And we will be definitely awaiting more information as it comes. But please, before we close off for today, please make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel as well if you'd be so kind, and leave a comment in the section below if we've missed any speculations. If you want to leave a comment on the video, just let us know what you'd want to see. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And if people don't know where to find you by now, Jim, where should they do that?
Oh, yeah. Follow me on Twitter at FabTCGcards. Please shop at my site, fabtcgcards.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll find me here on the Azalea Cult.
Absolutely. And yeah, again, if you haven't subscribed, please make sure you do that. And yeah, we'll see you very, very soon on the next episode, wherever that is, whatever that might be. Thank you very much. Praise be, our Supreme Leader.
Praise be.
Praise be.